With our prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhuvah Swaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma satgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityorma amritam gamya. Om sehna vavtu, sehna bhunaktu, seviryam karvavahi, tejasvi navadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahi. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Avadhuta Gita. That's what we are studying these days in this class. And we are on verse number 70, chapter number 1. Tirthe cha antyaj gehe vanasht samritir apityajan samkale tanum muktaha kevalya vyapaka bhavet. Tirthe, in a holy place, Tirthan. Cha means and, antyaj, rotten. Gehe, in a house. Va means or, nasht means lost, samritir, memory. Api, even, tyajan, giving up, to renounce. Sam, same, kale, time, tanum, to the body. Muktaha, liberated. Kevalya, absolute, the self alone. Vyapakaha, permitted. Bhavet means would become one. A yogi may die in a holy place or in the house of an untouchable. A yogi may die in a holy place or in the house of an untouchable, or he may even die in a coma. Okay? Nashta samritir, that no memory is there. But no sooner does he give up the body than he becomes one with the absolute Brahman. So it's not the place or the time is dependent upon his liberation. He is liberated because he is not attached. He is not attached to the body or the mind. He is not attached to the place or the memories. He just is liberated. Okay? So this is a goal of all of us. Liberation. And this starts, sure, with the taking care of this body, calming the mind, learning things, then eventually reaching to the place where we can see only the Atma, that we are the Atma. We often hear this term mithya. Jagat is mithya. Sometimes we just translate mithya into false, that it's all false, or it's all bad, or it's all wrong. But if you look at it philosophically, because this is what he's talking about over here. Mithya is that if something does not have independent existence, that is mithya. That doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't have the independent existence. Like a body doesn't have an independent existence. What is body? Functioning of the body dependent upon the Atma. Okay? So mithya is if something does not have independent existence. Only the subject is actually real. Subject. No object is real. Only the subject. Subject means the Atma or Brahma. See, there are always a degree of reality. Only the subject is absolute real. That means it has the intrinsic existence. Everything else is dependent upon the subject. See, we often talk about the ocean, the water. So from the standpoint of the water, bubble is mithya. But from the standpoint of a wave, bubble is not mithya. Because bubble is also a name and form of water. Wave is also a name and form of water. So both have a name and form. Without water, they cannot exist. Or another example, gold and jewelry. Any piece of jewelry is dependent upon gold. Okay, dependent upon gold if it's a gold jewelry. So subject is the gold, object is the jewelry. So in relation with the pieces of jewelry, it's not mithya. But in relation to the subject, it is mithya. Okay. So world of polarity is mithya. Because it has all name and forms from the consciousness point of view. From Atma and Brahm point of view. So when you study a scripture like this, that kind of a philosophy, you have to remember these basic facts. You all know this. We have studied these before. Okay. See, just like a body to body or body to the mind, it's not mithya. But when we look at the absolute point of view, the Atma, and over here, Dattatreya is talking about from that standpoint, the Atma, the Brahm. So remember this. See, the whole picture should be in front of us. Do not get confused. Do not get lost in the words. So because you might say that other people, other scriptures we read that where a person dies, it does make a difference. Or wherever the consciousness is at that level, what are you thinking about, you go there. Because over here, Avadhuta Avastha is, your mind has been dissolved. Your ego has been totally dissolved. That's why it doesn't matter. But in the relative sense, to us, it does matter because we haven't reached there yet. That's why we got to keep our body also healthy. We got to keep our mind also. These are the equipments we need to take care of them so that ultimately we can reach there too. Because this is the goal which is talking about. Okay, don't think that I don't need to do anything very sadhana anymore. Because that's what the Dattatreya is saying. Where we are, we need to do the sadhana so that we can reach to this state. Okay. Then in the next one, he says 71, Dharam Arth Kam Mokshan Cha Dvi Pad Adi Char Acharam Manyante Yoginah Sarvam Marichijalam. Sun is the duty. Earth is the wealth. Kam is the desires. You're all familiar with these terms. Dharam, Earth, Kam, and Mokshan, liberation. Okay, so these are the 4 goals of our life.
Hershji?
Cha means and. Yes.
Can you go a little slower? I think your Wi-Fi.
Yes, Jyoti.
Your Wi-Fi is lagging, so can you go slower? Can you go slower?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
You want me to disconnect and come back again? Or
No, 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 no. Just carry on.
you want me to go out and come back?
No,
Okay. Okay.
carry on.
All right. So number 71. Okay, I'll just go slowly then.
Mhm.
Dharam is a duty. Arth is wealth. Kam, desire. Mokshan, liberation. Cha means and. Dvi, two. Pad means legged, like legs. And that really means a human. Dvipad. Adi, etc. Char, movable. Charam, immovable. Manyante, consider. Yoginaha, yogis. Sarvam, all. Marichi, jalam, water in a mirage. Jal is, you all know, it's water. Marichi means mirage. Sun, so yogis consider everything. Duty, wealth, objects of enjoyment, liberation, and all movable and immovable things, such as men, trees, and so on, as water in a mirage. See, that's why I just brought this concept of mithya. It's not that they don't see it, they do see it. But they never forget, a yogi never forgets the absolute. Yogi understands all this is relative. Okay? Yogi doesn't ignore it either. So this Avadhuta Avastha is a yogi. The name for that is yogi. We are not talking about a yogi who just does few asanas or does pranayam. We are talking about a yogi who is completely united with the Brahma, who doesn't see two, who sees only one. That is Avadhut. That is a yogi. Okay? So it's like a water in a mirage. It is there, but it doesn't exist in the absolute sense. Atit, anagatam, karam vartmanam, tatha ev cha na karomi, na bhunjami, iti me nischala mati. Atit means past. Anagatam, future. Karam is action. Vartmanam, present. Tatha means etc. Ev means thus, cha means and, na is not. Karomi. Karomi is when you perform the actions, doing. Karomi. Bhunjami, experience. Iti means thus, me means my. Nischala, unwavering. Mati, intellect or the perception. I did not perform actions in the past, nor do I perform actions in the present, nor shall I perform actions in the future. Neither did I, nor do I, nor shall I enjoy their respective fruits. This is my firm conviction. And what did Lord Krishna, what term he used for this kind of a yogi? Karam sannyasi. Karam sannyasi is who recognizes that I am the Atma, I am the soul, I am no different than Brahma. I'm not doing it. I did not do it. I will not do it. That doesn't mean they don't do it, but they understand Atma is not doing it. And I am the Atma. Who is doing it? Body is doing it. Our mind is doing it. Who is enjoying it? Senses enjoy it. Ego enjoys it. And suffering is also through that. Atma neither enjoys nor suffers. And I am the Atma. So Avadhuta, Dattatreya is at that level. Karam sannyasi. Okay, it's not a renunciation of the actions. It's a identification purely with the Atma, and Atma by definition does not do anything. So that's why very emphatically he's saying, I did not perform actions in the past, nor do I perform actions in the present. See, that's how you burn your sanchit karam. Otherwise, if you keep thinking that I have done those good actions and I should get the fruit of those actions, you are attached with the actions, the doership also, and the fruits also. So this way you burn it. This is the kind of a knowledge which really burns the sanchit karam. And the current karam also, that's why he said, nor do I perform actions in the present, nor shall I perform actions in the future. So that means the future is there, in the future yogi is doing, but always remembering that I'm not doing it. My body is doing it. Neither did I, nor do I, nor shall I enjoy their respective fruits. This is my firm conviction. See, we know this also now because we have studied so much. Here and there we experience this also. But firm conviction we got to have. And this conviction becomes firm with the help of the sadhana. That's where the faith comes. Then in number 73, he says, Shunye agare samras putah tishtan ekaha sukham avadhutah charati hi nagnah tyaktvaha garvam vidante kevalam atmani sarvam. Shunya, in empty, void, shunya. Agare, temple. Sam means same or evenness. Ras means essence. Putaha, pure. Tishtan, still or abides. Ekaha, one. Sukham, happy. Avadhuta, liberated one. Avadhut. Charati, moves about or wanders. He means therefore nagna, naked. Tyaktva, having renounced. Garvam, ego. Vindati, knows. Kevalam, alone or absolute. Atmani, in the self. Sarvam means all. The Avadhut lives happily alone in a secluded place, purified by the uninterrupted bliss of Brahma, renouncing the ego. So this Nagan word, people have taken it too literally. They think we disregard what we are wearing. or don't wear anything and you become Avadhuta. No. Renouncing the ego, identification with the body, identification with the mind, identification with the intellect. That's a Nagan word is because we are wearing all these layers on us. And we think that we get rid of the clothes and we can become Avadhut. That is the height of stupidity. Renouncing the ego, the mendicant Avadhut moves about and finds everything within his own self. So for Avadhut, everything is just Atma, which is part of Brahma. All the layers have been removed. Avadhut could be living in a mansion. Avadhut could be running a country. For people from outside, it might look like that this person is totally immersed in the Maya. But how Avadhut or this yogi is perceiving the whole thing? He just sees only Brahm everywhere. He's not immersed in this mithya. Okay? So we got to learn these terms like a Nagan over here, understand it properly in the right implication. Tritaya Turiyam Nahi Nahi Yatra Badha Muktaha Katham Ihi Tatra Dharma Adharmo Nahi Nahi Yatra Badho Mukta Katham Hi Tatra. Tritaya, three states of consciousness. And Turiyam is the fourth state. Okay? Nahi Nahi, not this, not this. Yatra means where. Vindati says, Kevalam Atmane Tatra. Only the Atma. Dharam Adharam. Nahi Nahi Yatra. Again, Nahi Nahi Yatra means not this, not this. And dharma, we know righteousness and non-righteousness. Badha, bound. Muktaha, liberated. Katham, how? Ihi means here, tatra means these. Where there is no threefold state, and we are all familiar with the threefold state, Jagrat, Swapan and Sushupti. Wakefulness, dream and deep sleep. Not even the fourth, Turiyam. Because even if you think that there is a Turiya state, I am in a Turiya state, still there are two. It's totally dissolved. Me and mine has totally dissolved. So where there's no threefold state, not even the fourth, one attains the absolute Atma. Nothing left to even describe it. No separation at all. Where there is neither virtue nor vice. How can there be bondage and liberation? Because bondage and liberation is always in that sense. I want to do punyakaram. I got to go to a better place. I got to do this and not do that. For Avadhut, for a yogi, it's only one. There's no duality, has risen above the duality. Vindati, vindati, nahi, nahi. Mantram chandah. Lakshanam nahi nahi, tantram sam rasmagnaha, bhavit putaha, pralapitam etat param avadhuta. Vindati vindati, one attends, one knows. Nahi nahi, not this, not this, never. Mantram, the mantras. Chandaha, the Vedic meter. Chand, like a Gayatri Chand, those are chands, the meters. Lakshanam, form. Nahi nahi, not this, not this. See, like a neti neti, nahi nahi is the same as neti neti. Tantram, the tantra, there is a tantra vidya. Sam means same, ras means essence, magnaha, immersed, bhavit, by meditation, putaha, purified, pralapitam, utterance, etat, this, param, supreme, avadhuta, avadhuta. One cannot attain Brahm through the repetition of mantras or the recitation of the Vedas or the practice of the tantric rites, like rituals. The great Avadhut, after purifying himself through meditation and becoming absorbed in the uninterrupted bliss of Brahma, has sung this Gita spontaneously. Okay, so initial stages of sadhana, sure, they have a merit. But ultimately, we have to see if we are doing those sadhanas, is our mind becoming pure or not? Is there more and more purity in my mind? And one way we can see that if our mind is pure or not, is it in our control or not? Is it restful or not? Or does it get agitated by little thing here and there? Sometimes we see people get agitated over small things, insignificant things, but we don't have to watch others, watch our own mind. Does it get disturbed? That means it's not a clean mind, it's not a pure mind. You don't have a control over your mind. So that's why we do the sadhana. And meditation will help us to become one with the Brahma only if we have a pure mind. Restless mind cannot. You can sit in meditation all you want to, but you are not meditating. So that's why he said, he's not putting down the repetition of the mantras, but remember, repetition of the mantras are only to help us to clean our mind. Or a recitation of the Vedas also. And for that matter, even these books we are studying, we got to see after each lesson, is my mind becoming calmer, cleaner, more in my control? Or is it becoming arrogant now that I have studied so much, I know so much? So that's why he said the great Avadhut, after purifying himself through meditation. That's why we talk about meditation almost in every class. Are we practicing it or not? And becoming absorbed in the uninterrupted bliss of Brahma. Sure, we feel the bliss here and there. I'm sure otherwise you won't be listening to this. To listen to something like this, that means you have had a taste of it. But the key word over here is uninterrupted bliss of Brahma. This ras, some ras magno, some means the same. Because this ras is the same everywhere. Brahm is there. Only Brahm exists actually. It's our own ignorance. We think that this is a non-Brahm. So sam ras magno bhavit puta pralapitam etat paramavadhuta. Very strong words Avadhuta ji is, Dattatreya ji is giving it to us so that we can intensify our sadhana to experience this. We are all capable of, we are all on the journey to reach there. While living in this relative world, still feel the absoluteness during our meditations. Sarvashunyam ashunyam cha satye asatyam na vidyate स्वभाव भारतः प्रोक्तम शास्त्र संविति पूर्वकम. Sarv means all, shunyam void, ashunyam free from void. So shunya ashunya, cha means and, satya means truth, asatyam untruth, na means not, vidyate known. Swabhav inherent nature, bhavata state of being, proktam spoken. Shastra means scriptures, samviti, knowledge, purvakam, full of. Everything is void and at the same time full. There is neither truth nor falsehood in Brahma. This is narrated by the Avadhuta from his own experience and also according to his knowledge of the scriptures. So scriptures are needed. If you don't have those guidelines, those maps, we wouldn't know where we are traveling. So map is needed. So scriptures, he's not putting down scriptures. He says according to his knowledge of the scriptures. Because when he says there's neither truth nor falsehood, because if we think that this is true, this is false, we are still in the duality. There's no duality in there. There's no plurality in there. It's a non-dual, only Brahma everywhere. But we have not reached to that stage yet. So this is the end of chapter 1. So chapter 1 had 76 verses. And chapter 2 we're going to start next week. So chapter 1, if you remember, I told you, deals with the nature of the Atma. Atma, which is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, which has no birth, no death, no bondage, no liberation either. And this is what he's singing to us from his own experience. So altogether 76 verses, that's what we learned. Then second chapter, we'll see that how he deals with the proofs for this same thing. He will tell us this duality is born out of ignorance of the real nature. And that's why I mentioned, I gave you the definition of mithya today. That is ignorance. And he'll tell us, he'll give us a great hint, a need of a guru in a spiritual life. It's not for the sake of guru we need a guru. It's for our sake we need a guru. So that we can see that where we are going. We can have our doubts cleared. We can have some motivation. We can have somebody to look up to it, somebody to emulate. That's why we need a guru. Even Avadhuta ji is, Dattatreya ji is telling us this. So We'll start from chapter 2 next week. I'm going to end it over here, this class, because I want to share something with you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Okay, and I would like to have somebody